What I know about Arnis is that it consists of sticks that can be used in fighting. But as I take this subject, I eventually know that Arnis can be a skill that a person can use as a self-defense. That this sport is not just a simple sport. It is something that can help people to know how to protect themselves from any harm. As soon as I found out that this semester we'll get to learn the skills in Arnis, I felt excited and at the same time nervous if I'll be able to acquire these skills. But nevertheless, I felt the excitement to learn this sport.
The first word that came to my mind when I found out that our PE this semester is all about Arnis is how or paano. For the reason that I knew that Arnis is a very technical skill and more of practical rather than theoretical. So I wonder how it will be taught to us and how will we learn it, especially with this kind of setup. It also added to the fact that I am used to witnessing the former grade 12 students in our JRU quad executing Arnis exercises by pairs. Nonetheless, at that time, even I am wondering, I am certain that I am excited to learn a new skill as well as looking forward to how our teacher will teach us the basics of Arnis.
What comes to my mind when I found out that this semester in our physical education class, we will study all about Arnis is that this is the third martial arts that I get to learn. The first one is karate, the second one is Muay Thai, and the third one is this, Arnis. I am excited to learn about Arnis because I thought that it will be much easier for me since I have background in martial arts before.
What comes into my mind when I think that my PE subject is all about Arnis makes me excited to learn about new things, but also review new ones, but also nervous at the same time because I do not have a flexible body, so I think of how am I able to do this or that in a right position or stance.
Activities and the outputs that are given, the problems that I mostly encounter is not about learning the proper way to execute the process, but it is in the filming of that activity itself. It is quite loud in our place, that's why I had a hard time in filming. And the other problem that I encounter most of the time is that I tend to be clumsy. So when I am practicing or filming a video, I always end up with bruises. But other than these two problems, I haven't really encountered problems regarding the execution of the steps of that activity.
In doing my activities and outputs, the problems that I mostly encounter are first, looking for adequate space or angle for video shooting. Since we do not have the luxury of a wide area in our house, I need to move some furnitures to have enough space as well as to prevent them from getting hit by an Arnis stick. The second problem is that sometimes I am having a hard time understanding how to execute the stick exercises and stances shown to us. That's why I tend to waste a lot of time redoing it, practicing and slowing down the playback speed just to catch up instead of recording it already.
In doing our activities and outputs, the problem that I encountered mostly is the space in our house. We don't have a huge space in our house, so whenever we need to shoot something that we need to pass in this subject, we need to move a lot of furniture, which is tiring, so I can have a wide space. Another problem is that one time we had an activity that really requires a huge space and we have no choice but to shoot outside. So for me, it is a bit dangerous, but I don't have a choice but to shoot, so I still proceed in shooting the videos anyway.
In doing activities for my PE subjects, most problems I encounter is my proper position and stances. Also, accepting my body is not very malleable in the right positions, and I have to adjust them in the right timing of the voice or the music that's are sent to us by our teacher.
As a student, it strategy, but I always watch the videos multiple times then memorize. And while I am memorizing, I'll get a pen and use it so that I'll be able to memorize it fast. But the real strategy that I use is that I'll put the video in the slowest mode so I'll be able to see every steps clearly and accurately. I think that my strategy works well since until now I am still using it to perform the activities.
The strategies that I use to execute the skills needed in every activity are to always practice and improve my body coordination. It was proven that practicing can really make things perfect. You just need to be patient with yourself, and it may be hard at the beginning, but everything will be easy along the process. The second is to improve my body coordination. I find this is an effective strategy as these past activities we are required to be synchronized with our groupmates. And since we do not perform together, I need to be focused and coordinate my body to the audio that was given to us.
As a student, the strategies that I use in executing the skills needed in every activity is the same strategy that I did when I was learning karate and Muay Thai. I watch videos of the given examples over and over and practice it over and over as well until I perfect the moves and the steps that is needed in the required activity. With Arnis as well, I didn't have a hard time executing the steps since some of our steps like the stances is just the same in our stances in karate.
As a student, the strategies I need to execute in my activities is to practice often to lessen my mistakes and correction, but also to watch closely in the videos that the teacher sent to us. Because when practicing, I need to make sure that my hands, positions of also my feet and arms are right.
For me, all the things that has been taught in this subject will be able to be of help to us in the future. Since this is not just about being able to pass all the requirements, but it is a training ground for us students to learn this skill so that we can be able to protect and defend not just ourselves but the other people as well. All those exercises, stances, techniques, fighting positions, and others will be helpful to us in the future as long as we'll be able to practice and remember the things that has been taught to us.
Aside from the fact that I have learned the history and different stances or exercises of Arnis, which serve as a supplemental information that I can further bring up until my college, the lesson I learned in this subject also allows me to recognize that Arnis can be one of the best practices to defend ourselves. I already have the capacity to defend myself from others by merely being knowledgeable about the 12 strike points. I know what area I can strike from the stranger's body as well as the right way and technique to perform it. Undoubtedly, the learnings I got from our subject are highly significant and it will still be beneficial in the future as it is a form of a self-defense.
In this subject, I have learned a lot that I can use in the future, especially for self-defense. I have learned about the stances, which will help me to not fall easily while executing moves or steps and while defending myself. I also learned about the hand techniques or the hand exercises, which will help me to get used in holding our knee sticks and will help me to have coordination with both my hands. And lastly, I learned about the striking techniques, which I think is the most helpful and I will need this the most when defending myself.
The lessons I learned in my subject that I will use in the future is being disciplined and focused. I can use this aspect in my future to make sure that I will not be distracted, but also practice myself to not procrastinate and focus on my task at hand.